art of design surrounds us. From colours and shapes to structure and style, it is the essence of many of the world's most incredible and awe-inspiring creations. All great designs begin simply with one person's vision, a pencil and a piece of paper. And nowhere do we see this more keenly than in the world of superyachts. This glamorous industry is home to some of the greatest visionaries, revolutionaries, and serious risk-takers of our time. From the initial concept, a simple sketch, bringing to life the innovative and groundbreaking vessels, through to the final flourishing touches of style, class, and opulence. Superyacht designers are at the heart of this multi-billion-dollar business. Award-winning superyacht designers Bannonburg and Rowell are undoubtedly at the forefront of this elite group of creatives. Led by Dickie Bannonburg and Simon Rowell, they carry the legacy of perhaps one of the most famous yacht designers of them all, John Bannonburg, who is often cited as the father of modern yacht design. And it is a tradition that son Dickie and his team continue to this day.
When he first sort of set up the yachts business as such, the design business in the late 60s, in an environment which was incredibly hidebound and conservative, still sort of post-war. The whole British yachting scene was very sort of gentlemanly, very conservative. There was distinct delineation between the naval architect, the interior designer, the exterior designer, and really, frankly, the sort of designer side of things was a little bit
low down the pecking
order.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, not quite frowned upon, because that's not fair. There were some famous designers. They tended to be more sort of sailboat and exterior designers, but he was the first to really mash all of these together. He wasn't a naval architect, my father, I mean, by training, but he nevertheless sort of melded these three previously separate disciplines into one much more sort of amalgamated group.
Combining these three disciplines saw John's profile continue to rise, and in 1965 he was selected by Cunard as one of the interior designers for their new liner, Queen Elizabeth II, more commonly known as the QE2.
He was one of a handful of, I'm going to say, young British designers. Somehow he made the cut there, despite not being British at all, being Australian, who were assembled by Cunard to design the principal spaces on board, and he was allocated. I don't know quite how they did it, drawing names out of a hat, I don't know, but he got the library and the Queen's room, which was like a double height cube, and some of the first class suites.
John's work on the QE2 heralded a change of perception of design within the yachting world. And soon, the high-profile clients came pouring in, with admirers such as Larry Ellison, Malcolm Forbes, and even a certain Mr. Fidel Castro coming to him for yacht designs.
In our archive room, we have all those drawing tubes, and there's a solitary one. I think it actually says Cuba Pesca on the lid, as opposed to Fidel Castro, but that's what it was. There was a series of conversations in I think it was the early 70s. And there were lots of conversations between him and presumably Fidel directly, but more likely a sort of group of worthies about building a sort of state yacht. And the idea was that, you know, the most prolific sugarcane cutter on the island would get to spend some time on the state yacht as a sign of the state's gratitude and support. But it didn't come to anything, which is a shame. But there's a very cool design for it, which is still sitting there in the archives.
Dickie worked alongside his father for 15 years on an array of iconic super yachts before taking over the business in 2002. In 2003, he teamed up with Simon Rowell, and together they set a whole new standard of design for super yachts.
John died in 2002, and Dickie wanted to carry on the studio, and he put the feelers out to see if he could boost the creative side of the business. And then in 2003, I moved across from a hotel design world.
Bravely moved across.
Well, not that brave.
You're quite brave.
In retrospect.
I mean, having done his research, but
in retrospect, a very happy move of if you like, design sector from land-based to yacht-based. So we set about both continuing the studio and rebuilding it in a new for a new generation, really.
Yeah. So I mean, quite a sort of restarting of the clock in a way, because I think, understandably, that the yachting industry were probably waiting to see what life was going to be like, or what the studio was going to be like post my father, post John. So it was a really an exercise to begin with in re-establishing the studio, and dare I say the brand, to show exactly what could be done.
The introduction of hotel-style design into the yachting industry was an inspired move and brought about a much more lifestyle-focused aspect to yachts. This custom lifestyle approach cemented the studio's reputation post John Bannonburg as one of the leading super yacht designers in the world.
You going to mug me?
Am I going to mug you?
Is that gorgeous or what, eh?
And I believe I can run a decent marathon.
Thank you very much.
Download unveiling now.
We don't really have a house style. I mean, people have said, they can recognise sometimes our work, or they can narrow it down. But I think we get inside the head, hopefully, of the client. So we try not to be prescriptive. Obviously, some people have a lot of experience, some people are new to yachting. So we have to sometimes offer a bit of advice or show, well, there's a few paths you can go down here, but it's their project.
Typically, it's a 3-year, 4-year journey with a client, during which time, all things being equal, you're getting to know them very intimately, frankly, in every sense, how they live their lives, what side of the bed they sleep on, how they fold their clothes, all of those kind of details. Those sound very micro, and I guess they are, but the enjoyment and a memorable project can cover all those aspects. What the process was like for 4 years, and my dad always used to say it, nobody needs to build a yacht. So an equally important aspect of it is for the process itself to be enjoyable and memorable for the client. Not just us, or not us at all, frankly. So we're duty and honor bound, really, to make that process as exciting and enjoyable as possible for somebody building a custom yacht from nothing over the course of 3 years.
As the super yacht industry continues to grow at an incalculable rate, so too do the boats themselves, and likewise clients' demands and specifications. A new trend in yachting has seen a shift towards a more active and adventurous lifestyle, with wealthy yacht owners no longer content to just laze around on the Côte d'Azur. Boats are getting bigger and they are travelling further.
We've had clients who've gone quite far afield. Pacific was specifically, by its name implies, going to be adventurous, and even some owners and boats surprised us with, like Ulysses, 60 meter, went at least once around the globe, and and went to some fantastic areas. And I think it's great to hear that the life of the yacht beyond our drawing board. I think that really appeals to us and has for a long time. Now, I think perhaps with a younger clientele, perhaps there's always a younger clientele entering the market, but I think if you look at inquiries coming from particularly from America, although not limited to America, I think that chimes with them as well. They don't want traditional dining salons in mahogany panelled rooms. They're very active. They want to go and do very sporty pursuits. Perhaps
might not even want a dining table. Actually,
they might not even want a dining table. Exactly. They may want. There's a genuine exploratory arc to some of their hobbies and pursuits.
One of the most recent explorer yachts to hit the water is the 107-metre ice-classed Ulysses. Delivered by the Norwegian builder Klaven Verft in 2015, her sophisticated exterior design and engineering are the work of Swedish firm Marintechnik Verkstads and Oscar Mike Naval Architects. With stylish and luxurious interiors designed by London-based H2 Design, Motor Yacht Ulysses is the epitome of luxury for expedition-style cruising.
We came into the process on Ulysses relatively late. We worked on the general arrangement a bit, got the layout, tweaked it a little bit at the last minute. But it wasn't really easy because we were working with a subcontractor who'd done cruise ships before. So it was a massive jump for them as well. So we had to work together, come up with a system that was achievable, they could build, but also would give us the level of quality and detail that we were looking for. And I didn't want to do something too complicated because it would just look rubbish. It had to be something that's relatively simple to build, but it gave us the sort of the look that we were looking for. And these guys were fantastic.
Travelling the world by sea has the potential to get lonely, but with 15 cabins accommodating 30 guests and a 40-strong crew, Ulysses is more than large enough for everyone to enjoy the adventure. However, for those that prefer a bit of privacy, an entire deck on this extraordinary yacht has been dedicated purely for the owner. Currently available for sale, every aspect of the yacht has been meticulously thought out and executed, from the Rolls-Royce integrated bridge through to the spacious guest areas and sun decks, all the way up to the fully certified helicopter deck and hangar.
There's a few details on the yacht that are great. Something I've not really seen before was a really clever helicopter storage, as well as a landing pad, obviously. But it's got a really nice garage for a helicopter. And it's an accessible one, it's not a complicated one. It's something that would get used. What happens is a lot of heli decks have these, clever storage things, but rarely get used because it's actually quite a palaver to take the blades off and all this sort of thing. There is a minimum size you can get a helicopter on practically on a yacht, and you're really looking at 80, 90 metres to get a proper helicopter platform minimum. So that's an expensive feature if you want it. But if you're going to go travelling around the world, you need a helicopter to be able to get on and off the yacht, go to interesting places, visit the islands and stuff like that. And also, like you see on Ulysses, you want some massive tenders. So you've got, a 21-metre catamaran on the front of Ulysses. That comes off, you can go fishing in that. He's got 6 ribs on there or something. This toy store, which is just, to die for. It's a man cave of toys. There's 8 motorbikes, 3 or 4 cars, Harley Davidsons and stuff, all this stuff. It's just fantastic. And we've got sofas and stuff in there. He's recreated what he's got at home, basically. So he goes down with his mates, can sit down there, have a few beers, and he's got this. It's just huge, and you just couldn't do that on a normal super yacht. It just cost a fortune. There's always been explorer yachts, to be fair, but normally they were conversions of existing yachts. I think we're seeing now a direction where a new build is actually an explorer from the beginning. People are putting a lot more money into that, and there's a lot more focus on the design side of it. Say previously it was just a conversion. It was just like, I just want to go around the world, convert this, tug or whatever, and then off we go. Today it's a lot more sophisticated. But the interior, it's important that the interior is obviously up to a nice standard, so that they're still on holiday and they still want it to be like a super yacht inside. So it's an interesting balance. What comes first, clientele concept? I would say 100% the client, without a doubt. I mean, we obviously do produce concepts, and you see them all the time in magazines and etc. But actually, it's really hard to do a concept without a client, because it's just you're just making it up, and I think you need someone to believe in what you're doing, and actually what's great is you get a client with a unique lifestyle or a need, and that gives you a challenge. It's something interesting, and we're working with the clients at the moment who have a very different lifestyle, and they use the yacht a lot, and they're putting demands on us that we would never have thought of if we were trying to do a concept. So I think I much prefer to be set that challenge by the client. On Ulysses, the client was very active in the design process. It was his baby. He knew exactly what he wanted. And actually, when Ulysses came out, he was blown away by it. And in fact, he went on it and he couldn't believe the spaces, how amazing it was. He loved the decor, but also it made him realise just how big these things are. And it's quite scary when you go on these boats, because you look on a drawing and you can't. It's very hard to get a scale sometimes. And it's only when you go on it, you go, oh, what have I done? This is huge. Apparently they've had literally 38 billionaires have been around Ulysses recently, because it is like I said, it is a concept that really appeals to people, and if nothing else, it will hopefully encourage some of these other guys to make the jump as well into the market, because there's not very many yachts of that size that they can go around, have a look at. Most of them are very private, and most of them are not for sale. So if nothing else, she's been a great calling card for the whole industry. She's going to be at Monaco this year.
While expedition explorer yachts are becoming the ultimate status symbol, there is one company pioneering even further into this extreme yachting category: Damen Yachts. The parent company of the renowned Dutch luxury builder Amels are pushing the boundaries of travel to the very limit with their newest creation, the Sea Explorer, due to be released in 2019. Damen has invested thousands of hours in research and development, ice tank testing, and real expedition pedigree through partner EOS Expeditions.
We came together in a really interesting way. Damen Shipyards has produced over 6,000 hulls, builds 200 vessels a year, and could be excused for thinking that they know absolutely everything about shipbuilding. But when it came to building a new genre, expedition vessels, they came to an expedition company because they wanted to make sure that right from day one there was expedition expertise blended into the DNA of the vessel.
We are great shipbuilders, we know that, but we didn't have any clue about the expeditions. And that's the reason to combine the knowledge of shipbuilding and the operation together to get the best product you can ever have.
The instantly recognizable exterior lines were penned by Azure Yacht Design and Naval Architecture. Plus, the Sea Explorer makes no compromise on the super yacht lifestyle, with the owner's choice of luxury interior designer. The largest of the Sea Explorer range can accommodate 30 guests in absolute comfort, with up to 50 crew members, including expedition guides, ice navigators, helicopter crew, doctors, and of course, even your own submarine pilots.
There are not that many expedition vessels around. Most of the vessels that we use on expeditions are refitted vessels. Owners who bought a second-hand vessel and then refitted them into an expedition genre. A lot of the vessels that you see on the market are what they call explorer yachts, which really are just pretty standard super yachts that have long-range fuel tanks. What we've created at Damen is an expedition vessel, and so it has a number of features that are specific to this genre.
And particularly what we want to try to get over the table is that we can go anywhere in the world and do anything what you have to do in the certain areas where you are. Those are the most important things.
as an expedition company, when we're taking a private yacht on an expedition, we always have to customize the itinerary to suit the capability of the yacht in question. So with a Sea Explorer, what we've done is we've created something right from a blank slate that doesn't have to compromise. It's a vessel that can literally go anywhere in the world, and that's the first vessel of its type.
Entering pristine, untouched territory bestows a hefty responsibility on all visitors, one that Damen has taken seriously in the design and construction. So although the Sea Explorer might be a heavyweight when it comes to expedition capability, it leaves a remarkably light footprint on the environment with a zero-discharge waste management system, protecting a fragile ecosystem for generations of explorers to come. So if you have the traveller's bug and are itching for adventure, without compromising on style and luxury, then perhaps a sea exploring vessel is the way to go. If you have very deep pockets, that is. Join us next time as we go inside super yachts.